It's official, Juventus cancels Chiesa and all the unwanted players from their stores. You can't buy their jerseys anymore, so no Chiesa, no Szczesny, no Milik, no De Sciglio, and a couple of others. And Thiago Motta was very clear after the Brest game. If you were fit and you weren't called up or dressed for this game, you need to find yourself a new club, a new situation. You are no longer in the future plans of Juventus. Bad thing is that Chiesa right now is holding the larger part of the stick. Why? His contract is coming up at the end of the upcoming season, so June 2025. That means in January, he can sign for whoever he wants. So if he decides, I don't want to go here, I don't want to go there, and it becomes very difficult, Juventus will have a big loss on the books for Federico Chiesa. He cost Juventus about 60 million euros for the cartellino. It was a 10 million euro loan obbligo di riscatto, so o prestito onoroso di 10 milioni, 40 milioni for the obligation, another 10 of bonuses, plus a salary of over 6 million euros a season. Nothing. And so the worst scenario for Juventus right now is if he decides he's not going anywhere during the transfer market and he waits to see what comes up in January. That would be the worst scenario for Juventus. Of course, Juventus trying to find a home for him now. They had a deal with Roma. It didn't work out. He decided not to go. He wanted to play the Champions League. And so some people are saying he's interested in Napoli, but Napoli doesn't play the Champions League either. Yes, there's Conte. There was maybe a rumor of a deal, a scambio for Raspadori or Diego Simeone. Could it actually happen? We'll see. I think Juventus, in my opinion, would lose too much in that trade in terms of quality of players. Yes, the evaluation at the beginning of the calciomercato was about 35 million euros. Now it's down to about 15, 20. Nobody is willing to give that money to Juventus right now. And so there are other teams interested. This morning, yesterday, they talked about Lazio, who lost Greenwood. And so they might be looking at getting Chiesa. They cannot afford to give a 6 million euro salary to Chiesa. So it's going to be a smaller amount on a bigger term. So maybe 3-4 years instead of a 2-year deal, for example. So could that be an option for him? Maybe. They don't play the Champions League. And then there's Inter. And everybody's afraid of Inter. Why? Because we all know Beppe Marotta, the free agent signing expert, is already looking at Federico Chiesa for January. But because Arnautovic went down, they're thinking maybe they could go get him now. Now, there is a rumor that Juventus is interested in Fratesi, un scambio con Chiesa. Of course, it wouldn't work out. Like, Juventus would have to put in money in this deal because Fratesi's valuation is about 40 million euros. He still has 3 years on his contract. He makes half the salary that Chiesa makes. And so Juventus will have to put in some money. So Chiesa plus probably another 20, I'm assuming, to try and go get Fratesi, who would then become the solution fallback if they can't sign Coop miners, right? If you get Fratesi, it's still a great colpo di mercato. You get rid of Chiesa, maybe. We'll see what Juventus decides to do. But the other big question is, can Federico Chiesa decide to skip this season? Because if he doesn't go anywhere by the end of this calciomercato, so August 31st, and Juventus doesn't want him, Motta doesn't want him, they decide not to dress him, not to play him, he sits on the bench. Can he afford to sit another season on the bench? After the time you've missed being injured, after the off performances, like, you have to think about it. At this time of his career, can he afford to sit out an entire season? Like I said, Juventus at the moment would be losing a lot of money. And, you know, Juventus waited for Chiesa. The performances weren't always there. He got injured a lot. They didn't get what they expected from Chiesa when they go get him. So let me know what you think. Write in the comments. Like and subscribe. What do you think is going to be the ideal scenario here? I personally think he doesn't go anywhere. Unless Inter comes knocking or a big Premier League club, I don't think he goes anywhere. I don't think he goes to Napoli. I don't think he goes to Lazio. He already said not Roma. I think he's going to try and get as much as he can out of this. So I don't think he's moving anywhere. We'll see what Giuntoli does, what Juventus does, but it is going to be interesting. Let me know what you think. Write in the comments. Like and subscribe, guys.